What's up, guys? It's Brad. I'm with TechBud Solutions. If you don't know who I am by now, I am part of a TechBud Solutions group. I guess I should say by now, or if you're a new person. If you're a new person, welcome. I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel if you like what you see here today. For those of you who have been following me for a while, just to remind you that I am part of the TechBud Solutions group. Ricky Gutierrez is our leader. He is an entrepreneur of many things, but primarily what we have our channels here for on YouTube is for trading. Ricky is a very technical trader, usually finds potential in a stock somewhere between 5 and 10% and hones in on that support and resistance within a particular stock during the day and capitalizes on that. We do have other channels here. We have Connor, who is a momentum trader, does really well with what he does there. We got a newcomer. His name is Kyle Vallans. He has a brand new channel. Kind of shows you guys how to buy and sell things, how to make money doing that. And he's a really good asset to have on the team. Love Kyle. He's been with us for a long time. And yeah, so let's get to it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just having a really long night. But I wanted to get this video out because I wanted to get this is really important. And it's about how to read certain filings. I know that a lot of you have been asking about what a 10K is, what a 10Q is, what an 8K is, and so I'll break it down here for you like this. So an 8K is any kind of filing that a company is required to file with the SEC when they come out with any kind of like PR news, such as, a merger or something like that. A 10K is an annual report that has the company's all their financial information, any lawsuits that are pending, and stuff like that. You're going to find that all in their annual report. The 10Q is a quarterly report, just like the 10K, except for it comes out on a quarterly basis. It's a little bit not quite as detailed as the 10Q because the 10Q is like a year-end type of thing. 10Qs are like their quarterly reports. All these get filed with the SEC, and sometimes companies can get a little bit of trouble with this. And so let me show you. It's probably a little bit easier to show you what I mean by that rather than tell you. So let's get into it. Alrighty. So I already have it pulled up here. This has kind of been a popular one that we've been going over the last couple weeks. It's really done well. So I thought this would be a good place to start, and then we can go into some other areas. Now, GBHL. This is a company that's actually current. A lot of times you'll find here on OTC markets that you'll see a stop sign, a yield sign, or a cross and bone sign. I'll save what those signs mean for a different video because I want to go into that a little bit and more in depth later. But for what we're going over today, GBHL, they actually have something what's called a semi-annual report and quarterly report. This is a little bit different than a 10K or a 10Q, but it basically does the same. And I'll show you what the difference is. So here's their semi-annual report. And any kind of annual or semi-annual reports do pretty much the same thing. They're actually a lot easier to read. I prefer a 10K or 10Q only because I do have a financial background and I like to see more detail, and that's what a 10K or 10Q provides, is much more detail, probably more detail than the average person would need to view the health of a company, but that's just my own preference. So for all intents and purposes, I thought that I would show you the semi-annual report first, just to kind of give you a glimpse of what you might be looking at. And so you can browse through a report or semi-annual or annual report. Here's the contents here. And it kind of just goes into a little bit of what their financial health is, what they have authorized, outstanding shares and stuff, which is actually, this is pretty low for an OTC, and so this is why it's actually been doing pretty well. And so, yeah, so this will also show if there's any kind of, if there is a pending legal matter, where they're at in that, and it also talks about their plans for the future, that sort of thing. But if you notice here, it doesn't really break down like balance sheets and stuff like that, which is what I actually prefer to look over, is like a balance sheet. And let me show you what I mean by that. So let's go to another one that's been popular here as of late. We'll check out Phil. And what Phil does is they actually file 10Ks and 10Qs with the SEC, and I'll show you what I mean here. So again, we're here in OTC markets. If you haven't seen this before, I do have videos on how to navigate this a little bit. And so I'll go to filings and disclosures on Phil, and see, here's this 8K. Just to give you a brief overview of what an 8K is, this is when they announced their acquisition of the company that we discussed a couple weeks ago about Phil, when it jumped 300%. It's a really awesome video. I encourage you to go look at that, how he came to this conclusion to find this before it jumped. And so whenever there's any kind of acquisition like this, it has to be filed with the SEC. If it's not filed with the SEC, that's what causes that stop sign, skull and crossbones, or yield sign to show up on OTC markets. Basically, it's kind of like a black spot if they don't do this, on a current basis. And I think, is Phil current? Let's see here. They are current. I might find one that's for you that's not quite current, so I can show you what I mean. But so this here's an 8K, shows you the acquisition. Actually, it gets signed by the CEO here. And so, yeah, there's the 8K. And I will show you what here's a 10Q. 10Q, this is great. So this is a quarterly filing here. And here's the balance sheet. This is what I like to look at. I like to look at the balance sheet to see how much in debt they are. What's the dilutive outstanding shares, that sort of thing. Phil actually has very low float, and so that's why a lot of people have been asking me, hey, why is it that there's low volume here and it's moving so fast? And the reason is because there's low float here. There's low amount of outstanding shares, which is, I think, in my opinion, better to get into something like that, because it's not going to take much to move it. If you get into something that has a higher float, it may take a while for it to move. Everybody has a smaller portion of the pie, if you will. Say if a company has, we'll just make it simple, 1 million shares, and it takes a lot more. But if they have 1 million shares, but only 700,000 of them have been purchased, there's going to be a lot more shares that have to be bought before the price of that share will go up or down. Typically, when there's like dilutive outstanding shares out there, it causes the price of a stock to drop, simply because people don't want smaller pieces of the pie. They want a bigger piece of the pie of the company. They want a larger stake in that, because that means that everybody gets more money. So if you guys are like me, you're a little bit more analytical. If I have any CPAs out there, they can appreciate this. Viewing the balance sheet and that sort of thing is probably your preference. And every company decides what they want to file, whether it's a 10K or the other filing that was on GBHL that has just escaped me. It'll come back, don't worry. But so here, this is the quarterly report, and the annual report, the 10Q or the 10K, is going to be pretty similar to this. It's just going to be a lot longer, and it probably won't matter to you a whole lot more than a 10Q would. It's just basically a culmination of the entire year. Luckily for Phil, there isn't any kind of legal things pending here. And, I'm not going to go through the entire thing only because it would take us forever and a day, but you can see the contents. It's quite lengthy. Look here, 40 pages. So the thing that you really want to pay attention to when you're looking at something like this, if it's like, oh, okay, should I get into this or shouldn't get into this, is the amount of the debt that they're in, and also the outstanding shares, and where the dilution is, how much of the outstanding shares are dilutive. And so you want to look for low numbers on diluted and outstanding shares, and you want to look for low numbers on the liabilities here as well. All right. Sorry if this is boring to y'all, but I know a lot of people have been asking about it. How we read these. How do we know if it's a good stock to potentially get into based off of these filings? And people were like, well, why does it matter that a 10Q was released? Even so, here's the other thing. Some people ask, why is a 10Q released and it's not really all that great looking of a 10Q, but the stock price has gone up? And I can show you an example of that. Let's go to BVTK. I believe, yes, they have a stop sign here. And basically, this stop sign is showing how current they are. So it even gives you this warning: this company may not be making material information publicly available. This shows that this company was not making their filings in a timely manner. So a 10Q or 10K has to be filed within 90 days of the fiscal year end or the quarterly, the quarter end. So they have to, and if they don't, then they get this black mark, a stop sign. If they don't do it, I think it's like 2 or 3 times, then they get knocked down to skull and crossbones. And so that's something to keep an eye on as well. So back to my point about why is it that this 10Q doesn't look all that great, but the stock price went up? It's probably because a particular company is trying to get current. And I will say that BVTK did have a skull and crossbones and released their 10Q, and I think it was 10Q or 10K, on time. And that caused the stock prices to skyrocket because people were like, okay, this company's for real. It's legit. They want to actually become current, become a legitimate company, and possibly uplist to the NASDAQ. And so that screams value to an investor. So they try to get into that before something like that happens. If they know that they're going to be submitting it on time and that this symbol here is going to look better for them, the next step for BVTK will be the yield sign, and then there won't be any sign at all. So hopefully, if they keep doing what they're supposed to be doing, could be great things for the investor here who has already been in it a while. We do have a person or two that's been in BVTK a while. If you go back to one of my videos where we had a guy that made $28,000 on his very first trade ever, it was actually on BVTK. When that skull and crossbones sign actually got lifted. So that's it in a nutshell. I know this was kind of dry, maybe a little bit boring for you guys, but again, I had a lot of questions on it. So for those of you who are asking about it, there you go. Everything that you need to find out about a company on the OTC market is in this OTC Markets website. Financials, news, as you can see here, anything that you need to find out on a OTC stock will be here. Really hard to find anywhere else because not a lot of people are trading these stocks because they find them dangerous or what have you. There is money to be made here. There's obviously a lot of potential. I've shown that so far. If you come to our chat group through Discord, you will see. Let me have you all look at my beautiful face here. If you come to our chat group in Discord, you will see that a lot of us are making consistent gains of 50, 30, 100, even 300% in a day. And It's really something to see. Honestly, it really does something for me to see that I've been able to help somebody in some way succeed or win in this market. And it gets a bad rap, and it's not for everybody. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it is, because it can be scary at times if you don't know what you're doing. But the point of this channel and the point of our chat group with TechBud Solutions is to make it not so scary and allow you to see the potential that can be won here, because it gets really crazy. So I've seen people make $90,000 on a single trade on something, and it's just truly unbelievable to see something like that happen. And it does. There is a lot more risk involved when it comes to trading OTCs. I'll be the first one to tell you that. You'll see the 300% gain, but you can also see a 300% loss. But again, the purpose of our group is to minimize that. And so far, we haven't seen any kind of losses to that magnitude. And I don't foresee any of that happening either. We have a really great group of guys and gals. And I'm just looking forward to what the future holds for us. Thank you guys for your support. I wanted to get this in the last video, and I didn't. I'm so sorry that I forgot. But I got over 1,000 subscribers. That's just freaking awesome. I had no idea that I never would have thought in a million years that would have happened. And I have no one else to thank but you guys. You've been so supportive and have been loving everything that I've been putting out so far. And it makes me feel great, and it just makes me keeps me motivated to keep going. And I really feel like that I have something special. And the team that has been built now with Ricky, with Connor, and Kyle has been just awesome. I think we have a couple more people that might be joining our team to help you guys out with Forex and that sort of thing. And I'm just super excited to see where this goes. I will place the links to the other channels such as Ricky, Kyle, and Connor in the description below. And I will also, if you go on Facebook, we have a Facebook page, it's TechBud Solutions. All you have to do is just create a Facebook profile if you don't have one, request to be in our page, and we will accept you into our group. The link to Discord, it's our chat group, is on our Facebook page. So you have to join our Facebook page, and we'll be able to get you in that way. All right, guys. Well, it is past my bedtime. Get out of here after I edit this thing. So one other thing, if you have any questions, if you like this video, if you hate this video, leave a comment in the comment section. I read all the comments, so I will respond to you as soon as I can. If not, at least note that I read it, because I read every single one of them. I've been loving everything that you guys have been putting out. And so yeah, I will see you guys on probably Monday. I'll see if I can get a video in on Sunday. If not, I will definitely see you on Monday, and I hope that we all have a green week next week. B. Smith.